Coming up today on The Now, vaping isn't just impacting our health, how it could start hitting our wallet now, too. Thousands of age-progressed photos of missing children have been created in hopes of the right person seeing them. How one remarkably accurate picture helped a man learn the truth decades after his adoption. Vegan, gluten-free, those are just a couple of the popular diet choices. But just because you're eating this way, should your pet? What experts have to say.
Thanks, Annie. Our weather, it is changing and changing quickly here across central Indiana. You can see that change coming with a few light rain showers here through the downtown area. Certainly have the cloudy skies, but it's more in that feel and the temperature change. We're talking about numbers across central Indiana that are 10 to 30 degrees colder than this time yesterday afternoon and evening. Our temperature continues to fall in Indianapolis, now to 54. It's in the 40s. Crawfordsville and Lafayette at 47. Enjoy the lower 70s in Muncie because it is numbered there within the next couple of hours. Those winds, they're starting to come in out of the west-northwest and a little breezy here, 23-mile-per-hour wind in Indy. There's a look at a few of those showers associated with the front, a few more showers back to the west, but you can see this isn't going to last very long as it stretches through Johnson County and up through the Anderson and Alexandria areas. So if you are going to be heading out to some football games this evening, layer up. Those temperatures falling through the 40s. It will be a bit breezy out there as well, and we'll find those temperatures tonight dropping down to around 36 degrees. That's a full 10 degrees below average, not the record. We'll talk about our chances for frost in a few minutes. Amanda?
Thanks, Kyle. Investigators are still looking to arrest a man they believe hit and killed a 14-year-old boy riding his motorbike. 30-year-old Timothy Poole faces charges in connection to the death of Luis Daniel Patino Ortega on September 11th. This new development comes days after the boy's mother talked to RTV6, saying she hoped the driver would come forward. According to court documents, Ortega was riding his motorbike on Coyle Street near 64th and Michigan Road on the north side when Poole hit the teen from behind, then got out of the car and ran away. And new developments today in the case of an abortion doctor who performed procedures in northern Indiana. Remains from 165 additional aborted fetuses were found in the trunk of a car belonging to Ulrich Klopfer. The 79-year-old died in early September, and the first thousands of fetal remains were located shortly after his death by family members who were going through his belongings. Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill says he is committed to giving all the remains a respectful resting place. And we are still waiting to hear exactly how a 74-year-old woman died after her body was found near a gas pump at a northeast side gas station. Investigators say Mary Nicholson was found with trauma at the BP near Mithofer and East 30th Street. Detectives initially thought she had been shot, but then changed direction and said it is unclear if the trauma had anything to do with her death. Metro Police are looking into a shooting on the north side that sent a man to the hospital. This happened around 10 this morning near the Carlton Apartments on Plaza Lane. That's near West 86th Street and Township Line Road. All we know as of now is that the person who was shot is in serious condition. We will have updates on the RTV6 app and the IndyChannel.com. He didn't have any known family, but that did not stop Indianapolis from saying goodbye to a Navy veteran today. Several showed up as Sproul Funeral Home hosted the memorial service today for Daniel J. Powell. The woman who accepted Powell's flag says she did not know him, but she considers it the chance to continue to honor him, even in his death.
It's kind of crazy. It's an honor, really. I'm blessed to be in this position to accept this flag, and I don't know how to explain it except it's just an honor.
That veteran, Daniel J. Powell, died September 20th at the age of 67. The funeral home also arranged for Powell to be buried with full military honors. Let's start the Now News feed. The former U.S. ambassador to Ukraine testifying behind closed doors today. She says President Trump pressured the State Department to remove her from her position. This testimony is part of the House Democrats' impeachment inquiry. Now, the main focus of the questioning was what role the Trump administration may have played in withholding military aid from Ukraine. Nearly 2,000 American troops are heading to Saudi Arabia, the U.S. making the move in connection with growing hostilities with Iran. The government also sending fighter jets and an air defense system. A big recall from Subaru. The car company says an issue with the Forester can lead to the airbag being deactivated. Now, this affects 2015 to 2018 models. That's about 350,000 vehicles impacted. A consumer group is sounding the alarm about blood pressure medications still on the market. When the cancer-causing chemical nitrosamine was first discovered, there were several recalls of dozens of common medications. But you can't take them all off the market because 15 million Americans rely on the class of blood pressure medication. So the FDA said it would temporarily allow slightly higher levels while they evaluated all the other drugs. Now, we're past the deadline, and the U.S. Public Interest Research Group is concerned about the progress that's been made.
According to the FDA's own data, they've only assessed 26% of the manufactured medications, and the majority of the assessments they've done have found significant levels of these cancer-causing chemicals in it.
U.S. PERG reports the FDA found nitrosamine that exceeded the interim level in 61% of some of the drugs they've examined. Garber says the real concern is that a lot of people on these medications take them for a long time, so they could have already had years of exposure and will continue to.
The FDA and manufacturers think that during the manufacturing process itself, something is happening that is causing the nitrosamine to develop. So some manufacturers don't have any problems at all and have not issued recalls or found problems in their supply.
The group also wants the FDA to provide resources to increase production of the blood pressure drugs that do not have the carcinogen, and to help pharmacists and doctors suggest alternative, uncontaminated medications. Well, back to our lineup. Concerns about vaping illnesses could now mean higher costs. We're looking into changes that may be coming to both life and health insurance.
And Keller, right now.
Welcome back. This is the Now Indy on RTV6 happening this weekend. Enjoy brews, support Indiana brewers, and take in the barrel-aged and harvest-themed beers. It's the annual Broad Ripple Beer Fest. The event directly benefits the Brewers of Indiana Guild and its member breweries. You can enjoy 3-ounce samples of hundreds of Indiana craft beers. It's all happening from 2 to 6 tomorrow afternoon at Optimus Park on Indy's north side. A change is coming to some people's life and health insurance policies that will make them more expensive. Now, Prudential just announced it will consider e-cigarette users as traditional smokers. Smokers pay on average about 50% more a year for life insurance, depending on the policy, between $350 and $800 more. Some other companies were already charging vapers more. The president of Consumer Watchdog says he doesn't necessarily disagree with the practice.
Well, you know, I'm no fan of the insurance industry, but I think they're probably right in this circumstance. You know, vaping is a relatively unknown quantity. We don't have any longitudinal studies to show what happens in 10, 20, 30, 40 years to the lungs of people who vape. But there has been some evidence that people do have significant scarring.
Jamie Court says it's a little more of a gray area when it comes to health insurance. Right now, plans under the Affordable Care Act do not charge e-cigarette and tobacco users the same. Some states don't allow any smokers to be charged more. At the same time, the Insurance Information Institute reports that some companies have vaping in the non-smoking category because there isn't enough data yet on the health effects. But with recent injuries and deaths from vaping, some companies now consider it a higher risk factor. Quote Wizard, a website that compares health insurance plans, recently looked at CDC data to determine which states have the most e-cigarette users. Well, these were the top dozen. And the report also found more than 3.5 million middle and high schoolers use e-cigarettes. Ahead in our lineup, thousands of age-progressed photos of missing children have been created in hopes of the right person seeing them.
Shock would definitely be one of them. I think another one would be, kind of amazement.
How that man's remarkably accurate picture helped him find the truth decades after his adoption. Imagine growing up knowing you were adopted from an orphanage, only to later find out before you ended up at the orphanage, you were considered missing. One man discovered his own photo on a missing kids website. Maya Rodriguez explains that discovery only happened because artists created an age progression photo of him that was remarkably accurate.
I'll walk you through this step.
For Joe Mullins, a face can tell a story.
Everything about your face is etched into your skull.
Mullins is the senior forensic imaging specialist at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Over the past 20 years, he's created thousands of age-progressed photos of missing
I
children.
always say an age progression is an image based on hope, or hope that the right person sees it. We hope we get these children back home where they belong. This is what we have to start with.
But how that happens can be an incredible journey. Just ask Steve Carter.
Shock would definitely be one of them. I think another one would be, kind of amazement.
Carter always knew he had been adopted from an orphanage in Hawaii. What he didn't know was how he got there.
You grow up with this story in your head of, a family member decided that I would have a better life if, it was with somebody else. So it's kind of that loss and, regret that you didn't have that connection. But then to find out that, that wasn't the case, it was something totally different, is kind of a big pill to swallow.
He learned the truth decades after his adoption. After seeing news of a missing persons case, he had an idea to search missing kids' photos online, wondering what he could find. And he found himself staring back at him.
Because mine was, pretty much spot on. They even got the smirk, which I thought was amazing.
Turns out, he and his mother disappeared in the mid-1970s. She was never found. It was true that he came from an orphanage, but no one knows how he got there, and no one realized he had been a missing child. He's since reunited with his birth father and a sister, who always believed he was alive, something that he says wouldn't have been possible without the age progression.
It allows that sense of hope for families that I think is really necessary.
Joe Mullins says stories like Steve's give his work so much meaning.
It does work. It can provide those answers, and these images are a beacon of hope.
Hope and answers to lifelong questions. In Philadelphia, I'm Maya Rodriguez reporting.
Incredible. Thank you, Maya. Well, we think of deep fakes as videos manipulated so well that they trick you into thinking they are real. Politicians have been the targets. This year, a fake video that appears to show Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi drunk, that went viral. But researchers now say the new trend is putting women's faces into pornography. Deep Trace is a company that monitors deep fakes, and they say 96% of the deep fake videos online are non-consensual porn videos. The company says it's not only famous people who are the victims.
Mostly targeting celebrities, but we also found, and it's been well documented, that everyday kind of private individuals are also being targeted by this as a form of almost enhanced revenge pornography.
Well, here's a safe for TV example of a deep fake. Watch as Bill Hader starts to talk about Tom Cruise. Then his face changes to be Cruise's. The Deep Trace company is one of a handful developing software that can detect clues in deep fakes, even when they look real to our eyes.
So these are almost like digital fingerprints which are left behind on these images and videos, which are very subtle on the pixel level.
Last week, California enacted a law aiming to protect politicians. The law makes it illegal to create deepfake videos of politicians within 60 days of election. But a second law lets victims of deepfake pornography sue whomever made it. A truck driver is recovering today after falling asleep behind the wheel and crashing a semi off of I-65. It happened near the North Split around 1:30 a.m. Police say the truck went off the road and up a steep embankment. At some point, the driver woke up and stopped the truck before it hit a barrier. According to police, he suffered a head injury, but is expected to be okay. Get your bagpipes ready and put on your kilt. It's time once again for the Indianapolis Scottish Highland Games and Festival. The event is in its 10th year and it brings together Scots from all over the world. You'll see kilted world-class Scottish athletes, Celtic bands, and Scottish food and drink, including whiskey tastings. This is all happening tomorrow from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. at German Park up near 86th and Meridian. How's that weather going to be for it, Kyle?
Well, for a kilt, it's going to be a little bit chilly out there for sure. Yeah.
Maybe with some tights.
Yeah, we got some definite chill coming our way here, and you can see the view from the IMS Pagoda camera. Well, we can't really make out a whole lot. You can see those trees in the foreground as we've got a little bit of fog and some rain that's moving through parts of central Indiana, all associated with that cold front. Right now, stretches from just east of Marion going to be moving through Hartford City as this all slides slides to the north and east back through Anderson and into western portions of Hancock County, down just to the southeast of Franklin across 65. And we've got a few more showers moving in from the west, so we're not all done with the rain. Covington, Williamsport going to be dealing with a little bit of that chilly rain. Your temperatures are in the 40s. We're at 54 right now downtown. There is that breezy northwest wind at 23 miles per hour. That is sending those temperatures plummeting to 48 degrees right now in Greencastle, 45 in Crawfordsville, sitting in the middle 50s in Indy, and upper 60s right now in Connorsville, but the cooler air is coming your way. Well, we need a few things to get some of that frost near or below freezing temperatures. We've got that. Tonight, the skies will clear out, but the winds are not going to go calm. So even though our temperature will be around 36, I think frost will be patchy for us Saturday morning. Temperatures, though, in the lower 30s around Kokomo, 34 in Shelbyville, and 34 in Bedford. As we look at your Saturday forecast, it's going to stay cool even with the sunshine, so you may want to protect those plants overnight tonight into the morning. Temperatures tomorrow only making their way to the middle 50s. Next few days, fairly quiet weather until we get to Tuesday, and we do warm up. Highs are back in the 60s by Sunday. Annie.
Natural cheese could be redefined by Congress. The Curd Act would establish a difference between natural and processed cheese. Companies want the change so customers know what they're getting at the store. Well, there is a big rush for certain types of cheese right now, and that's because starting next week, tariffs will impact the price of certain varieties, and that includes Parmesan. Some prices have already gone up more than 200%. Well, nearly 1 million. That's how many people U.S. Customs and Border Protection stopped at the southern border from October last year through this September. That's the highest number of apprehensions there in 1 year in more than a decade. You often don't hear directly from the people patrolling the southern border every day, but Chris Stewart went along with a Border Patrol agent to get their perspective.
How often is he going to see somebody potentially today try and illegally cross?
He'll see people probably multiple times today try to come up this draw right here. Some of them will continue and we might apprehend them a little bit north. Some of them, if they see us moving in to arrest them, they'll run back south. And so that's a daily occurrence.
How does the new wall that's been put in this year, how does this compare to what was here before?
So what was here before on our primary, which is what you see here, you had a roughly 8 to 10 foot corrugated steel Vietnam era landing mat that was there. It was very easy to climb over. Now with this new system, it allows our agents and gives our agents more time because it's a much more significant challenge. This can't be scaled the way that the old primary fence could. Beginning in 2015, we started seeing a majority of our apprehensions consisted of people that were from countries other than Mexico. The processing of those people, and as far as a government-wide approach, is a much more significant challenge, and it's more there's more time involved.
Is calling this an immigration crisis, is that a fair way to say it? Because there's a debate over whether or not, I think a lot of people know if there is a crisis or not.
Yeah, definitely. There's definitely, undoubtedly there's a crisis. When we see the large influx of people coming and crossing the border illegally, and as Border Patrol, we have no choice but to manage and try to deal with that. And we simply don't have and haven't had the resources to manage that sheer number of people. We're tasked with protecting the border and enforcing the immigration laws between the ports of entry, but then we have all these people now. We're supposed to house them, feed them, and kind of continue them down the chain, set them up for their cases and process them. When you don't have border security, you're leaving yourself exposed. You're open to anybody and anything that might want to enter the country, do you harm, do us harm. Putting something as the answer, that's not a realistic thing. I mean, they're going to face different challenges as time goes on, but this helps us. On the front lines, for Border Patrol agents, in the work we do, this is huge. This is a game changer.
Chris, thank you. Well, next in our lineup, if you switch to a diet, maybe like vegan or vegetarian for your own health, you may consider doing the same for your pet. But is that really best for your animal's health? We're getting answers on that.